as America puts to rest its shameful past. We remember those who paved the way for each of us. We honor those whose shoulders we stand, and we acknowledge those who will follow the trails we blaze. We salute African Americans who have made the journey and overcome physical, emotional, and social obstacles to become some of the most respected leaders in their fields.
If you keep on walking, it's okay. Step by step, day by day. Don't know every word people say. You are who you are, and it's not about the scenery. It is about your journey. Keep walking straight. Don't look what's behind you. I was born Marguerite Annie Johnson and was given the name for which I am known in my early 20s. After my debut performance at the Purple Onion Cabaret, after my parents' divorce, my brother and I were sent to live with our grandmother in Stamps, a racially divided city in Arkansas, before I taught at Wake Forest University, where I hold the first lifetime privilege professorship of American Studies and recited my poem on the post of morning at President Bill Clinton's inauguration, the first poet to make an inaugural recitation since Robert Frost at John F. Kennedy's inauguration in 1961. I am Dr. Maya Angelou.
I had a stuttering problem throughout childhood before I became a multi-award winning actor, known for my distinctive bass voice, heard as the evil Darth Vader in Star Wars film trilogy, and as King Mufasa in Disney's The Lion King. I am James Earl Jones.
I have had a series of abusive relationships, one that affected the hearing in one of my ears. I have diabetes, a disease that prevents the body from regulating glucose, also known as sugar. But this has not prevented me from becoming the first African-American actress to win an Academy Award, being one of the most highly paid actresses in Hollywood, and spokeswoman for Revlon Cosmetics. I am Halle Berry.
I was born in Jamaica, a part of Queens and out of New York City, to a teacher who eventually became a professor of Black history and the New York City Parks Department Recreation Director. My home was near a corner, known for a meeting place for drug users and abusers. My older brother Danny was pulled into the scene and became a heroin addict, and I almost followed his path selling marijuana while I was still in middle school. And for a time, I was a member of a local gang called the Seven Immortals. When I was 16, I shot at someone who tried to rob me. I was arrested twice for other charges and received a term of probation, all before I became the co-founder of Def Jam, creator of Fat Farm, Agricultural, American Classics, and one of the richest figures in hip-hop music, having a net worth estimate of $340 million. I am Russell Wendell Simmons.
Used to be judged on the color of my skin back in the day.
I grew up singing in gospel choirs, acting in community theater productions, singing on cruise ships and touring Jesus Hercules the musical, and placed 7th in the convention American Idol competition before I respectfully declined the request to perform the national anthem at Barack Obama's inauguration, and won an Oscar for my performance of Effie Rice and the Dreamgirls, a role for the 782 actresses audition. I am Jennifer K. Lee.
I was born in Atlanta, Georgia to very artsy parents. My mother was a teacher of the arts and Black literature, and my father was a jazz musician and composer. We moved with my family to Brooklyn, New York when I was a little boy. I graduated from high school and made my first film while a student before I became an American film director, producer, writer, and actor. Opened 40 Acres and the Mule Film Works, a production company that has produced over 35 films since 1983, won an Emmy Award, and was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. I am Shelton Spike Lee.
Before I became the 58th mayor of Atlanta, I was the first woman to hold position and the first black woman to be elected of any major southern city. I am Shirley Ryan.
I was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was one of 4 brothers of Ann Pearl, a maid, and William Henry, a U.S. Navy sailor who was away most of my childhood because he was fighting in World War II. I was a class clown, but I failed the 10th grade before I won a track and field scholarship to Pennsylvania Temple University and studied physical education while running track and played a fullback on the football team. I am William Bill Cosby.
I graduated from Emory University School of Law and served as dentist, Airlines highest ranking African American female employee as a senior attorney, litigating cases in federal courts throughout the country, and manager of criminal relations, supervising global crisis management and media relations for all of Asia, Europe, and the United States. Before I made the difficult decision to leave Delta Airlines to accept an appointment as Chief Presiding Judge of Fulton County, Georgia's juvenile court, becoming Georgia's first African-American Chief Presiding Judge of a state court, and the probably appeared in one of the largest juvenile court systems in the country. I am Judge Linda Hatchett.
Youngest of 5 daughters born to Richard and Austin, who goes by the nickname of Brandy. We moved from our birthplace of Saginaw, Michigan to Compton, a suburb of Los Angeles, when she was baby.
Compton is a forward from very violent neighborhood, and it was an uncommon for us to hear gunfire. My father, fan of tennis, envisioned us as champions even before we were born.
He bought us books and videos, teaching himself and our mother how to play so they could then teach us before we became professional tennis players. And I've won 7 Grand Slam titles.
And I've won 13 Grand Slam titles.
I am Venus Williams.
And I am Serena Williams.
You know we'll be making history. No more judge me.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I was one of 5 children. My parents moved to North Carolina when I was very young. My father worked as a General Electric plant supervisor, and my mother worked at a bank. They taught me skills to survive. My father taught me to work hard and not be tempted by street life, and my mother taught me to sew, clean, and do laundry. I love sports, but I wasn't good enough to make the high school basketball team as a sophomore. But I continued to practice and made the team the next year. After high school, I accepted a basketball scholarship to the University of North Carolina. Before becoming a professional basketball player, active businessman, majority owner of Charlotte Bobcats, I am Michael Jordan.
I was born in Decatur, Alabama, the youngest daughter of Charlie and Dorothy. My father was a maintenance supervisor, and my mother worked most of her career as an elementary school teacher. I entered Stanford University at just the age of 16, but some professors would treat me like I wasn't even there because race can be an issue for some people anywhere. I would ask a question, and the professor would treat me like it was so dumb, the dumbest question he had ever heard. Then, when the white guy would make the same statement, he would say, "That's a very astute observation." before I became an astronaut in physician and the first African American woman to travel in space. I am Mae Jemison.
I was born in Detroit, Michigan. My mother dropped out of school in the 3rd grade and got married when she was 13. My father left us after my mother found out he had another family. My mother made my brother and I read at least 2 books each week and write a report for them. I became the first person to successfully separate twins conjoined by the back of their head. I'm the director of pediatric neurology at Johns Hopkins Hospital. In 2008, President George W. Bush presented me with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. I am Dr. Benjamin Carson.
I was born in 1954 in Birmingham, Alabama, and grew up during a deeply segregated period of American history. Both of my parents were teachers. My father was a football coach, counselor, and church ordained minister, and my mom was a church organist and teacher. Growing up as a black girl in the Jim Crow South was extremely hard before I finally became the first African American woman to serve as Secretary of State and National Security Advisor for the George W. Bush administration. I am Condoleezza Rice.
I was born to a family of 3 siblings. My mother and father were carpenters who believed the only answer to everything was to be who I be. Devoted my life savings to produce my plays, which resulted in sporadic homelessness for a period of 6 years before I became Forbes magazine's 6th highest paid man in Hollywood, with my films grossing nearly $400 million worldwide. I am Tyler Berry.
I was born to a single mother in the Bar of Houses, a housing project in New York City, and I served as an intern for the company. Before I became the first African American woman to ever run a Fortune 500 company and be appointed by the president to help run STEM, a national program to help benefit students in science, technology, engineering, and math. I am Ursula Burns.
I was born in the Marcy Housing Projects, located in Brooklyn, New York. My father left when I was 12, still notebooks with music ideas, and performed with my friends at house parties before I became one of the most financially successful hip-hop artists and entrepreneurs in America. Sold approximately 50 million albums worldwide while receiving 10 Grammy Awards for my work. I'm Sean Corey Carter, better known as Jay-Z.
I was born on an isolated farm in Tuscaloosa, Mississippi, to unmarried parents who separated soon after I was born and left me in the care of my grandmother. I later moved to a Milwaukee ghetto, an extremely poor and dangerous neighborhood, was abused beginning at age 9 by men others in my family trusted, before I became an internationally known television host, actress, producer, and philanthropist, best known for my self-titled, multi-award-winning television show. Won the highest rated of this kind of history and became the owner of my magazine television network. I was once the world's only black billionaire. I am Oprah Gail Winfrey.
I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, to an interracial couple. My mother of English descent from Kansas, my father of African descent from Kenya. My parents met at university and married a few months before I was born. At the age of 3, they both divorced and was later remarried. I must live with my maternal grandparents for most of my life because my mother was in and out of my life. My mother died of cancer and my father died in an automobile accident a few years before I became the President of the United States. I'm the first African American male to ever hold this office. I am President Barack Obama.
I lived in shelters, motels, and armories along the west coast with my mother. I attended 12 schools in 12 years. I graduated 4th in my class, but before I graduated, I was accepted to more than 20 universities, including Brown, Columbia, Amherst, and Williams. I chose a full scholarship to Harvard, where with them aspired to become an educational attorney. I am Khadijah Williams.
The journey for blacks in America is one of shame, struggle, and triumph. But each of us have a walk to make. Our greatest challenge in life is to maximize our time on earth by identifying our reason and purpose for being, existing. None can choose the shoes they were given, but they can decide how they will ever wear them. Today I ask you, who are you? How do you get here? Where are you going? When will you get there? What will you become? Imagine.